Welcome friends to another r/entitled parents video. If you want to do one thing to make your parents proud, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. That said, our first story of the day is by ZZ John. Entitled parents took COVID tests but won't show me the results in advance of their visit with my toddler. This started off as an Am I the Jerk post, but apparently they're sick of COVID stuff over there. Me too, I guess. My parents are in their 60s and my spouse and I are in our 30s. We live a state apart, about a 6 hours drive. My spouse and I have a 2-year-old who is not yet eligible for a COVID vaccine, and we've been taking every precaution we can to keep her safe while also holding down our jobs. My parents are both vaccinated and boosted, but regularly take risks that we do not. Going out to eat at restaurants, recreational travel, not wearing masks in places that don't require it, etc. On their most recent visit, my mom had been hosting a professional workshop that involved some up-close, hands-on instruction, and informed us at dinner that she decided to take her mask off as she was instructing students since it was so hard to teach with it on. This as she held our kid on her lap and fed them food off her fork. My parents were due to visit today, and we asked them to get a PCR test beforehand to make sure everyone was safe, especially our kid. They went to get tests on New Year's Eve, complaining to us all the while about what a pain it was to go to an urgent care center and sit for hours of potential exposure. Could have made appointments earlier since we'd been planning this visit for weeks. They arrived at their hotel yesterday evening, and in the process of opening discussion of plans for their visit, I texted them yesterday evening to ask if they could please send us copies of their test results. At 10 a.m. today, about 14 hours later, I received a long email from my mom, effectively saying, "No, we won't show you our test results. How dare you think we would make the trip here if we were sick? If you can't trust us to that extent, you shouldn't let us into your home anyway." Over the course of the next few hours, my wife and I both sent them digital copies of our recent COVID tests and emphasized that this was a pretty normal thing for people to be doing these days, and that we would really like to see them, but we'd like to see the test results, please. No dice, my parents have never been so insulted, can't believe that we don't trust them, etc. According to both of my parents, yes, they have negative results, but no, we can't see them. I had a phone conversation with them in which I told them that I love them, explained that we're trying to look out for the health of our kid, and hoped they would reconsider. They claimed they would never have made the drive if they knew we would make the ask. My mom cried. My dad was angry. In their own defense, they also brought up how risky it was for them to make the trip as older people, and the risks I've been taking traveling to other parts of the world, pre-COVID, and the time I smoked weed when I was 17, among other things. If they have negative results, it would be the work of 15 seconds to send us proof. I think I believe them, but their reaction makes me wonder more than I would have before. As far as I know, they're now driving 6 sad hours back home. No visit, no time with grandkiddo. I feel terrible for making people I love feel terrible, and I'm pretty sure I did so today, but this is pretty weird and entitled, yeah? I definitely think this is a very weird form of entitlement that they're kind of dying on the hill of. I think this is some weird thing where they're so confident that they're not in the wrong that they'd rather be weird and self-destroying and blow all the plans up rather than just give you what you want, because in some weird way that would be like admitting defeat for them. Have you ever been in a situation where you could have ended the whole thing probably within 15 minutes tops by doing something the other side wanted, but you were so sure that you were right about whatever that you refused to do that thing just in principle? Or do you think that kind of thing is just ridiculous? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Our next story is by BrilliantP1332. Entitled Mother says my career isn't as important as finding a husband. I, 22-year-old female, recently got accepted to my top graduate program choice. I was extremely excited to receive this acceptance and probably messed up when I shared the news with my mom. My mother is all about prestige. I got accepted into a phenomenal school, but it's a public university which is not elite enough for my mother. We were going back and forth, and I told her my reasons for wanting to go to this school instead of an Ivy League, better fit for my research, etc. What she proceeds to say next left me speechless. Here are some highlights. Finding a good husband and setting up yourself in a good location to even live in should be a priority, not focusing on school and research. You need to increase your chances of finding a good husband with a promising career, and the chances are higher in big and elite places. These schools named people don't care about you or your personal life. They just need someone to do the research for them to build their own careers. The same applies to other universities, so you need to think about what you're going to get out of this for yourself. You are at an age where marriage should be a priority before it's too late. Get yourself a good husband, and then go to the boring school cities named together or wherever together. It's up to you what you want to do with your life, but I'm giving you honest advice. Nobody will be honest with you like me. I was shocked reading those messages from her, though I shouldn't be surprised. She basically spat in my face telling me my career in research isn't as important as finding a good husband, which in her definition is basically any doctor, lawyer, engineer with an advanced degree. Doesn't really matter what I want. Anyways, after crying about how little my mother seems to think of me, I finally responded, "Thank you for your opinions, but my career is my priority right now, not finding a husband. My research is really important to me." Her response after that, "Well, see for yourself." She says, "Okay, so I should shut up. Fine, I will. You don't trust my opinions anyway, and will prefer to go against what I say no matter what. No problem. It's your life and your future, not mine. I did my part in giving an honest advice from the career standpoint and also from the social standpoint. Good luck with your life." I didn't even bother entertaining that message with a response. Good luck with your life? You're mad that I got accepted into my dream program and want to focus on my career right now? Fellow Redditors, how would you react and respond to something like this? Every time I think there's hope for our relationship, she keeps letting me down and showing me that I can't trust her. It seems to me that she doesn't even have my best interest in mind. Am I overreacting? To me, it's like OP's mom is stuck in the 1950s or something. OP is 22 years old and their mom's trying to pressure them, saying, "You better hurry up before it's too late." Maybe try in like another decade or something. God forbid OP has their own career aspirations. Not only career aspirations, but dreams. They said this is their dream and their mom goes, "Yeah, well, you better settle down and not do that dream. I'm giving you good advice, listen to me. Yeah, you like that dream? Well, you better just not do it and marry somebody really quickly." That's some good advice right there. And our final story of the day is by Marcus Christmas. On my 21st birthday, my mother tried to act like she was my bride. This is a roller coaster. Anyone who's seen my original post knows the level of infantilizing insanity my mother had towards me. She practically wanted me to be attached to her hip and wanted me to perpetually be a child. This is only one of the many nasty things she did. I don't intend to make many posts, but this story I feel like I want to get out separately from my original post. It was late 2012 and I was turning 21. I was the last person in my friend circle to reach that age, so we decided the best way to enjoy my birthday was to have it at a local bar. My mother didn't like this idea because she didn't think it was appropriate, but the rest of my family told me to enjoy the day the way I'd like, so I decided the bar was what I wanted. My mother did call me a few times asking me to change my mind, but I wasn't gonna. Every single birthday I had while living with my parents, my mother made all about her. She always dressed up like she was going to extravagant parties and always made herself the center of attention. She hovered over me every time I blew out my candles on the cakes, and she had to be in every photo taken of me. I stayed living in my parents' house as long as I could stand it to save money, and believe me, I was saving every spare cent in a savings account. Now it was time for my 21st birthday, and I was determined to not let her ruin it or make it about her. One of my friends bought a small chocolate cake, and it only had one candle on it in the shape of a 21. Some of my favorite tunes were playing on the jukebox, and I was enjoying gin and tonic. Then my mother showed up. She pranced in wearing what looked like a wedding dress of some sort, and her hair was done up in what I think would be best described as Disney Cinderella style. Her face was caked in makeup to try and not look almost 50, and my dad walked in behind her wearing his church suit. He didn't look happy. My mother pranced to me and latched onto my arm, and when I say pranced, I mean pranced. She had a hop with every step. but I pulled away from her and made her let go. I adamantly said I was not gonna be holding her arm, and I was going to enjoy my birthday the way I see fit. She didn't like hearing that and still wanted my arm. Every time I got up to try and do anything, she latched onto me and tried to parade me around. One guy there I didn't know made a joke that we looked like such a happy couple. My mother blushed like she was my girlfriend or something. That made me snap, and I called out what the guy said as disgusting, and that I was not marrying my crazy mother. My mother then gave me a shocked and then saddened look like her inner world had just crumbled. Then she turned on the waterworks. Everyone was staring. I just walked into the men's bathroom. She couldn't follow me in there. My dad walked in a few minutes later and said my mother had calmed down and it was safe to come out. But she'd planted herself in my seat at the table and was told to move when it was time to do the cake. She didn't want to, but my dad made her get up, and my friends made sure to sit in places that kept my mother from sitting close to me or be directly in my line of sight. My best friend lit the cake, and before I could blow it out, I noticed my mother was hovering creepily close behind me. I snapped and told her she wasn't going to do this to me again, and to sit down or go away. She started making a scene and my dad had to make her stop. Lots of people around the bar were looking at my mother and laughing. She started doing that kind of angry squinting where you expect tears any second, then just sat back down. My friends took pictures of me and made sure my mother wasn't in a single one of them. Not for lack of my mother trying anyway. My mother finally hit her breaking point when I got to start dancing with a girl while a live band played. We picked that day to have the party because a local band was there in the evening, and they were playing some great classic rock. I started dancing with a nice red-haired girl when my mother suddenly grabbed me by the arm and started forcibly trying to dance with me. I had to pry her off, and she screamed at me so loud my ears were hurting and the band stopped playing. She tried to grab me by the ear like she used to when she scolded me, but I slapped her hand away. She screamed at me that I was embarrassing her on her day. I retorted that it wasn't her day, it was never her day, it was mine. She yelled that she gave birth to me and that made it her day. I said that was not how it worked, and that this was my day and my day alone, and then my friends all backed me up. The band was even telling my mother off. One even called her a hag if I recall correctly. Suddenly, she was looking everywhere at everybody and you could finally see it click to her just how much of a scene she was making. I don't know if you've ever seen someone in a bar go dead silent while staring at one person, but they did. And one of the employees just pointed to the door and told her to leave. The girl I'd been dancing with, seemingly on cue, grabbed my arm and told me to just ignore my mother and have a good time. My mother then had a mental breakdown and ran out of the bar loudly crying like a girl who'd just had her prom day ruined. My dad did not follow. Instead, he just ordered another beer. The rest of the evening was a blast because after the bar, we all went back to my best friend's house and played old video games. Drunk Mario Kart is surprisingly fun. The next time I saw my mother, she acted like the events of my 21st birthday never happened. And on my 22nd birthday, I celebrated the same way at the same bar. My mother showed up for that one too, but she didn't try and pull any of the same crap she did before, and she walked out in the middle of the party when I was dancing with my then girlfriend. Later that year, I moved away, and my mother hadn't attended one of my birthdays since. I'm sorry, but what OP's mom was doing here is just really creepy. It's one thing to be like overly affectionate for your child and whatnot, but this was like OP's mom getting jealous of them getting female attention and like blushing when they said they made a cute couple. It gave me some very, very uncomfortable vibes. And just in those moments alone, I feel like I probably wouldn't have had to have read any of the other parts of the story, and I would have completely understood OP feeling the way they felt about their birthday wholeheartedly. When your mom's dolling themselves up like a Disney princess and basically trying to act like your girlfriend on your 21st birthday, you know she's going a bit too far. Man, that must have felt cathartic when they finally just left. And those are some good friends too. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.